All right, so this is the 11,000 kilometers review of the VOGE DS900X 11,000, and still love this bike, but it gives me quite some frustration because of the ergonomics, because the bike limits itself to 4,000 RPM randomly, and because of the clutch. And previously it was also the throttle jerkiness, but that seems to be better now. Not good, but not shit at least. Alright, so where should I start? The bike has great power. I'm coming from a 300cc twin-cylinder Kawasaki VOGE 300, and because of that I was only using the bike in rain mode in the first 6,000 kilometers. Well, in the beginning I was varying between road and rain, and then and because the throttle was so jerky that I went with rain. I was very careful, and now I am using it in road mode. So this 11,000 I mostly spent on country roads, little highway, obviously, some city traffic. This is not a city bike. The clutch is too hard, and the engagement point is too low, and the throttle is still a little jerky. So this is not a city bike yet. Maybe we will get firmware updates, because there were already 3 firmware upgrades since I had the bike, and now it's the 4.4, and I hope that they make the throttle response even better, or good at least. I mean, the power is great, the balance is great. Obviously it's a BMW background. I just had a valve clearance check done. You shouldn't do it at 10,000, only 20,000, but I had this random 4,000 RPM limitations, and I wanted to eliminate some possibilities, so I had the spark plugs replaced as well. I replaced the battery. So this is a problem very few seem to have with the bike, because I'm in the VOGE 900 Facebook group, and only another 2 people confirm that they experience this RPM random sudden RPM limitations. And I also had a strange problem with the headlight, because for many people the headlight points too high by factory. The dealer don't check it, and you can adjust it from below, but with my bike you couldn't adjust it from below. So I had to disassemble this whole thing. I have a video about that, and I had to loosen the nut in the back of this unit, and now I can adjust it with a screwdriver from below. If you are already at the front, the wind protection was not enough. This GV airflow is good. I have another video about that. The protection of the inner tube is not enough, so I made this 3D printable extender. Now the inner tube is protected from rocks and everything. Some people think it's ugly, some people think it's ugly. I also made this handguard. Now this is ugly. I didn't have the last layer of the carbon fiber like there. So it's like this for this winter. I don't care, it works. I needed it because I am 186 centimeters, and with every bike of mine I put the levers in an angle, and no factory, no aftermarket handguard can deal with putting the levers in an angle. and still giving wind protection, and also the space for the cables. So I made this ugliness. It's carbon fiber layers and construction foam in between. So like a car bumper. Very lightweight, but rigid. Yeah, if we are at the ergonomics, I have a video about the handlebar risers. It's 5 centimeter with adjustable angle and also anti-vibration, which you don't really need, but it didn't cost much more than the normal. So you can get the cheap version from AliExpress. I think that's good too. I tried it and I crashed with it. It didn't break. I'm going to add another 2 centimeter riser here, but then I have to extend my brake cable. I already lengthened the clutch cable by 5 centimeters. I might need to extend it a little more. I don't know how it will be with the extension. I think I have, yeah, I don't need it. So 5 centimeters is enough. Yeah, this is, if you are wondering, this is a self-defense device and an anti-animal spray. All right, the GB airflow is already here for about 3,000, 4,000 kilometers. I don't know, I was afraid that it's going to break the original shield, but it doesn't. I was thinking this is a foam mount from Uncle Wang. I was thinking to connect these two, but I'm not going to bother. Only in the bad roads it's vibrating somewhat, but yeah, it didn't break yet. And if it breaks, I will make a little thicker this. By the way, the foam mount connects to the plastics and also the back of the dash, so order it with the carbon fiber tube, otherwise it's too heavy, and don't fix anything very heavy on it. Steering damper still works 10,000 kilometers. I've seen a video where a Ducati Desert X owner said showed that he replaced his steering damper because it was shot after 10,000 kilometers. I think he was riding the bike off-road too, but still, this has no problem. Although it's quite a cheap, you can get it on AliExpress for, I don't know, 80 euros or something like that. Okay, the seat. So the ergonomics, what's the problem with the ergonomics? If not only if you are tall, but if you are 175, then as well, the handlebar is too far, and you need to lean forward, and then your nuts are crashing here. So and also the factory seat is too wide, so I made it slimmer, narrower, but higher, and I can flat foot like this. I'm 186, and you see this is in level. With the top, I can flat foot the bike still. I might add another 2 centimeter layer here, a soft layer. I'm not sure, because now this is like the 30th version or something like that. It's now a touch too hard. The previous version was too soft. I was thinking still in. Now it's silicone. It is 3 types of silicone in this now. So it's 5 kilos. And I am going to have it perfect soon, and then it will be available. Or it's not, I cannot make it cheap because silicone uses platinum as a catalyst, so it's expensive, but you cannot do anything about that. Yeah, so here it's narrow, and then it's wide here. And I'm going to sell this part only, and maybe an addition here for the passenger, but I didn't touch this. And this seat cover is from Louis.eu. It's 40 euros, something like this. Foot pegs, there is no option to lower the foot peg, so I would need to design something, but I'm not comfortable with it. Shift lever is a bit too short. I bought another one, but it's not fully compatible, not much longer, so I'm going to put it on next year. There's some heat coming from here. I made something here. There is another video about it, carbon fiber part. I'm going to test it next year, but it's still radiating heat coming from somewhere here. So I will borrow a heat camera and I will make a heat map image. Okay, what about this side? Yeah, my toolbox, it's ugly. I will cover that. Those bolts. Crash bars are good. I dropped the bike twice, like standing still. They didn't bend, they just crashed. The mirror survived it too. So although I was worried that it has the built-in blinker, it's going to be expensive to replace, but they survived. Tires are okay, but one compound, so you see it's 11,000 kilometers, barely any usage is visible. So yeah, I will replace it for the winter to the Mitas EO 7 Plus. Okay, what else? The suspension is good. For me, great means that you have a high-speed, low-speed adjustment. And you don't get it with any bike, especially not at this price point. So for general use, the suspension is good. But if, for example, like 80, 60, 80, you hit a pothole, a bigger pothole, the back of the bike is going to come up quite a bit. And to fix that problem, you could spend another 1,300 euros on a Touratech or Tractive suspension. BMW F850 GS suspension is compatible. Front, it dives, so which is advantageous. If you hit the pothole, it's going to take it well. But at slow speeds, maneuvering, you shouldn't use the front brake too hard, because then the balance of the bike will shift too fast, and it's 240 kilos fully fueled, and you're gonna drop it if you are not experienced. 240 kilos fueled with the crash bar. Luggage rack is 5 kilo extra. Skid plate. That's the BMW F850 GS skid plate with some additional aluminum spacers. 5 kilo extra. The seat, my silicone seat, 5 kilo extra. Yeah, so how to make a heavy bike even heavier? More stability on the highway. I don't know if the camera works, because I have 20 years experience in IT. I couldn't connect my phone to the bike after 5 trials, and I said fuck it, and I don't care. I might install my own camera, which has a camera on the back as well. By the way, I think this camera is the VOGE MT1, and I had it in my previous bike, and I am a little suspicious that it's draining the battery. So I changed the battery here, because I had this 4000 RPM limitation, so that's why I changed the battery to a Banner gel battery with the 190 cca cold crank amperage. So it's only a 10 amp hours. The factory one is a 12 amp hours, but the factory one doesn't say what's the cca value. It says an hour value, which is for solar batteries, so which is not important here. So I hope having changed the battery is gonna fix this RPM issue. Brakes are great. The Brembo brakes are great. Both. I had a problem with the squeaky noise, so I had the brake pads replaced. I have Nissin brake pads, nice gold. And by brakes. So let's wait a little. The brake pump is a cheap version. It's called Hante, and it has a lot of play. So this is quite ridiculous. and it's not that it has air in it. So from here, it's there is grip now. There is grip, but you have to pull it very close to your hand, and that can be a problem when braking hard. All right, I put on the Wunderlich engine guard. It comes with factory bolts and metal spacers. The AliExpress version comes with plastic spacers. I don't really recommend it. I have videos about how to remove the side panels. I have videos about how to remove the tank. I had to change the air filter. There's no vibration. Yeah, I wanted a bike which has no vibration. This doesn't have a vibration really. Even on the highway, obviously, it depends also on the road quality. So if you have deer shit and you hit it fast, then it's gonna vibrate somewhat, but it's not tiring. These buttons, I think they have no place here. They should be on the dash, and then there would be, then they could move the indicator closer, because this is very shit. Very shit. That's a nice English expression. Especially in winter gloves, you don't feel it if it's engaged or not. So this would be good on a mobile phone, or I don't know what. Also the buttons here, these buttons for the heating, you don't feel if you have turned it on or not. So this is, so I was expecting more, to be honest, from China. This is not good. Also, the hazard light is very small, hidden behind the tempomat, the whatever you call it, cruise control. So we need buttons on a motorcycle like these, which you can feel. Another problem came to my mind, which is not unique to this bike. I also experienced it on the latest Suzuki V-Strom 1050DE. When you come to a stop, you sometimes cannot put it in neutral. It's 2024, and manufacturers still cannot fix this problem on big expensive bikes, especially the V-Strom. Costs I don't know how many €1,000 more. And it's a joke on the V-Strom. One tire is tubeless, the other one is tubed. So that's that. By the way, tires and Suzuki on the 800, Suzuki 800DE, the new model, it was a recall on the tires, which were Dunlop, because the top part of the tire comes off of the rest of the tire. It's ridiculous. Yeah, comparing it to other bikes, I test ridden the Transalp. I didn't want a Honda because it's a joke what the Japanese are doing with the parts prices. The fuel filter is €100. Go fuck yourself, Honda. Not Honda, the Africa Twin was too expensive, too big for me. And the Honda with the stupid position of the indicator, it switched with the horn. No. Also, their claimed horsepower value on the new Transalp is bullshit. You can check out on YouTube the dyno measurements, much lower than the factory. Okay, comparing it to other bikes like let's say the Tenere 700, also has a very hard clutch, and sometimes it's also the engagement point is too low. But for the Tenere, there is a fix. You can buy it on AliExpress, a small part. You can install it to the clutch, to the beginning of the clutch cable. Same problem with the KTM 790-890. Clutch too hard, but there is this extender which is also good for the CF Moto 800. Now the KTM has the 790-890 series. I think most of them have a camshaft issue. The camshafts go to shit after 10-16,000 kilometers. Now KTM was denying it for a long time and neglecting it. Now they are paying for the replacement and the service, parts, everything. By the way, KTM, the KTM 1290 GS. I'm not sure if the newest model or the previous one, they have issues with the gears. So the fifth gear loses a tooth. Many bikes and KTM now switched to another gear manufacturer. So they are you have to replace the entire gearbox of the fucking bike. Comparing it to other bikes, what other bike I was looking at, I had the Touareg. I heard too many problems about the Touareg. What else is there? The Ducati Desert X doesn't have a possibility to put a top case on. Okay, that it's supposed to be go to Morocco and go into the desert bike, but you need luggage. You still need luggage, and you cannot put a top case on the bike. This is ridiculous. Yeah, the BMW F8 GSCs also have this brake free play problem, like the previous models of the Suzuki V-Stroms, but the new 900 GSA has good brake pumps. Yeah, you could compare it. Some people hesitate whether to buy the Tracer series, but the Tracer has a 17-inch front wheel. It's a completely different animal. The 21-inch front wheel is a huge safety feature, I think. Where I live, the roads are shit. Not that shit, but yeah, they are. There are many potholes, and the 20-centimeter travel plus the 21-inch is gives you a lot of safety blanket. Chains are okay, although they get rusty quite fast if they are wet. The radar, yeah, I have another video about the radar. It works nicely even when you are leaning. It works well. I'm very surprised how well it works actually. Also when someone is gaining on you very fast, so getting close, so tailgating you, it's gonna blink the indicators, which is nice. I have another video about that too. Okay, I have another video about that this nut was not tight enough. There was not enough grease in the steering stem, neither on the top nor at the bottom. And then not only was this loose, but if you there are these ones down there, I hope you can see. If you over tighten those, then you cannot tighten this and it will be loose. So don't over tighten those only need to be like hand tight, and then you can tighten this down. At the BMW it's 130 Newton meters, a lot of torque. And this bolt was not torqued down to specification either. It should be torqued down to 200 Newton meters. This is the swing arm axle bolt. So that's that. Yeah, I read it on in Facebook that for some the axle nut is killing the thread on the axle somehow, is eating it. For me, I haven't noticed it. I think for me it's okay. But yeah, there is this thing with these bikes that with some bike you had this problem, the other one has that problem. Very few issues, but still. For example, the steering stem not torqued down, that shouldn't happen. Also, no bike ever should limit itself to 4,000 RPM because it can cause an accident. Oh yeah, there is another big one. I was talking about that it's difficult to put in neutral when you are coming to a stop. Sometimes it's very easy, but most of the time it's difficult. And on the display it shows neutral when it's still in first gear. And that's why I dropped it one time, because I started the bike and it jumped out from under me. Luckily there was no other cars coming, or there was not a child in front of me. and the bike jumped one, and then it dropped, fell over. But this can cause a serious accident where lawyers might need to get involved, and they will use the expression criminal negligence from the from the factory. So these things shouldn't happen. All right, I've talked enough. 11,000 kilometers. If I left something out, I will put it in another video. On the pegs, out.